healthy, hardworking, and a reliable family man. That's how the sister of Clint Bonnell described her brother, who retired from the Army and was studying to become a physician assistant at Methodist University. Tonight, police releasing new details about their investigation and arrest.
How does a love story turn into a murder investigation? What drives someone to murder the person they once promised to love forever? That's the question at the heart of the chilling case involving Shana Cloud and her husband, Clint Bonnell, a decorated Green Beret, a father and a man on the cusp of a new beginning. Prosecutors allege that the moment he decided to end their marriage, everything unraveled. And within 24 hours, a devoted veteran with a bright future was dead, his dismembered body left in a pond, and his wife at the center of a murder investigation that has rocked a North Carolina community. On the surface, Clint Bonnell had everything to look forward to. A decorated Green Beret, a respected leader, and a newly minted student in a prestigious physician assistant program, Bonnell was embarking on a new chapter after 2 decades of military service. But beneath that forward momentum, something darker was unfolding at home, a tension that would end in tragedy. What could cause a man so admired, so focused on the future, to become the victim of such a horrific crime? According to investigators, the motive behind Bonnell's murder was heartbreakingly simple. He wanted out. The 50-year-old veteran had informed both his wife, Shana Cloud, and his girlfriend that he intended to file for divorce. Just 1 day before he vanished, he visited a lawyer to begin the legal process of ending his marriage. Prosecutors believe that this revelation was the final straw for Cloud and the trigger that set a deadly plan into motion. Could a single decision, one painful but honest conversation, truly ignite a sequence of events this brutal? In the early hours of January 28, 2025, authorities allege that Shana Cloud fatally shot her husband inside their shared home. But the crime didn't stop there. Prosecutors claim she then dismembered his body and attempted to cover her tracks by dumping his remains in a nearby pond. Surveillance footage and forensic evidence would later tie Cloud to the site where Bonnell's torso was discovered, strengthening the case against her. How could someone entrusted with saving lives be accused of taking one in such a calculated and gruesome way? Shana Cloud's profession adds a disturbing layer to the case. As a traveling nurse, she had been trained to stay calm under pressure, handle medical tools, and operate in unfamiliar environments with minimal oversight. Investigators believe these skills may have enabled her to manage the crime scene with disturbing precision. Did her medical background give her not only the means, but the mindset to conceal a crime? Her background in healthcare, according to prosecutors, may have influenced the methodical dismemberment of her husband's body. This wasn't just a violent outburst, it was a calculated attempt to cover up what had been done. That level of control, combined with her experience moving from job to job, raised concerns about how easily she could flee or evade capture if not apprehended quickly. What happens when someone trained to heal is suspected of turning that knowledge toward destruction? The public, too, reacted with shock. Here was a trusted medical professional, someone whose job was to heal, now accused of committing one of the most brutal crimes the region had ever seen. Cloud's past as a caregiver only deepened the sense of betrayal felt by those who knew her. But what about Clint? Was there anything he did that could have escalated this conflict? According to investigators, Bonnell's only trigger was his decision to leave the marriage. He had not threatened Cloud or acted violently toward her. In fact, those closest to him described him as emotionally drained, but committed to building a new life. His girlfriend recalled that he seemed exhausted in the days leading up to his disappearance, overwhelmed by the prospect of untangling himself from a deteriorating relationship. Is it possible that simply wanting a new beginning could cost someone their life? There is no public evidence that Bonnell did anything beyond being honest about his intentions. Prosecutors emphasized that this was not a case of provocation. It was, in their view, an act of desperation by a woman who couldn't accept the end of a relationship. So, who exactly was Clinton Bonnell, and what kind of life was he building before it was so violently taken? Clint Bonnell wasn't just a soldier. He was a protector, a scholar, and a man in transition. Born and raised in Texas, Bonnell enlisted in the U.S. Army in the wake of 9/11, determined to serve his country. Over the next 2 decades, he built a reputation for strength, leadership, and compassion. His final assignment brought him to Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina, a city he would later choose as the launchpad for his second career in medicine. What drives a man to start over after a lifetime of service? After retiring from the military in December 2024, Bonnell was accepted into the physician assistant program at Methodist University. He quickly became known as one of the most dedicated students in his class, even serving as class president. His sister described him as completely enamored with medicine, a man with purpose, discipline, and vision. What dreams did he carry as he walked into that next chapter? He had big plans. He was preparing for exams, mapping out a future with his girlfriend, and finally taking the steps to leave a marriage that, by all accounts, was no longer working. That made his disappearance all the more shocking. When he didn't show up for class, friends knew something was wrong. Could anyone have imagined that a man so deeply focused on helping others would vanish under such terrifying circumstances? Their fears were confirmed when authorities discovered his dismembered torso in a murky pond near his home in late February. Within days, charges were filed against Shana Cloud, first-degree murder and concealment of death. Where does the case stand now, and what questions still remain? As of mid-April 2025, Shana Cloud remains in custody without bond, charged with first-degree murder and concealment of death in the killing of her husband, retired Green Beret Clinton Bonnell. Authorities have gathered substantial evidence, including video footage placing Cloud near the location where Bonnell's dismembered torso was found in a Cumberland County pond. Investigators executed multiple search warrants on Cloud's vehicle, rental property in Virginia, and digital devices, collecting cell phone records, video footage, and other data to build a detailed timeline of events leading to Bonnell's disappearance and death. The case transitioned from a missing person investigation to a homicide inquiry within days after welfare checks were requested by university staff and Bonnell's girlfriend. Prosecutors allege that Cloud shot Bonnell multiple times inside their home shortly after he informed her of his plans to divorce. Bullet holes were found in Bonnell's belongings during the search of the residence. Cloud's attorney maintains her innocence and states she looks forward to her day in court. Shana Cloud is a 33-year-old woman currently facing charges of first-degree murder and concealment of death in connection with the death of her husband, Clinton Bonnell. She worked as a traveling nurse and also ran her own business, Cloud Concierge LLC. Cloud has worked as a registered nurse in Virginia, including for the Virginia Department of Corrections. Authorities allege that after Bonnell informed Cloud of his intent to divorce, she killed him, dismembered his body, and disposed of the remains in a pond near their home. Video evidence places her in the vicinity of the disposal site. Her digital devices and car were searched, and a growing body of forensic and digital evidence is forming the backbone of the prosecution's case. Cloud is being held without bond and could face the death penalty if convicted. Her next court hearing is scheduled for April 17, 2025. Meanwhile, investigators continue to search for Bonnell's missing limbs and head. The community, still reeling, is left with grief, disbelief, and the haunting feeling that something sacred was shattered beyond repair. Now, as both sides prepare for trial, one truth remains: nothing will bring Clinton Bonnell back. His family is left with memories in place of answers. His future was stolen, and the man who once walked out of war ready to heal the world was taken not by an enemy overseas, but allegedly by someone who once vowed to love him. This wasn't just the end of a life. It was the final chapter in a story of reinvention, cut short at the very moment it was about to begin.